Joe, 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 Joe. Hey, coffee with Joe, 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 Joe. Hey, coffee with Joe, 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 Joe. Hashtag keeping it real.
Welcome to another episode of Coffee with Joe, fourth episode this year, 2019. Got my wonderful, beautiful wife, Amanda.
Hi.
My guest, Megan, her mom, Molly.
Hi.
And what are we talking about tonight? Bipolar disorder. It's a new topic, different topic, never touched it, but we're about to get into it tonight. I'm gonna let my wife take over.
Yes, so actually I would like to ask you, Megan, what was it that, what was happening that made you think maybe, I need some help for something? Can you just tell us a little bit about your story?
Okay, so I've always been a very overactive child, I would say. I always pushed myself to the extremes in school and everything that I did. I was a huge perfectionist. Looking back now, this would have been manic symptoms that I wasn't aware of. I would overwork myself and stay up, and I would have a ton of energy, and I would be super excited, and I was either on top of the world or I didn't want to get out of bed. And this led to being, I ended up in the MHU, and they thought that I had depression. So I was diagnosed with depression, and I ended up being put on SSRIs, and these SSRIs caused my bipolar symptoms to be amplified, and I had a really rough year where I went through quite a bit of mania, a bit of depression, but mostly mania, and so that's when I knew something was really wrong. And I remember confronting my mom, and we were sitting in our driveway, sitting in our Jeep, and we had a conversation, and I told her some of the things that I'd been doing, which were really out of character for me. And I said, I think something's really wrong, Mom. I think I'm really sick, and I really need help. That was a really difficult conversation for us. I really just broke down, and this conversation led to me actually seeing a doctor the next day. And I talked to the doctor, and I said, I think I'm bipolar. I've looked up all of the symptoms. I have every single symptom that is online, and I fully believe I'm bipolar. And he trusted me and went with it and prescribed me lithium, and I started to feel a lot better. And this was kind of how we figured out that I was bipolar, I guess.
And I think that's super, super great that you were in touch enough to know something was wrong, to bring it up to your mom, to say, you know what, and have that conversation. Because a lot of times that conversation is one of the hardest ones to have, is to actually admit to someone else that you truly care about or cares for you, that, you are going through something, when it's normally something we try to squirrel away and hide and try to put on a show that everything is fine.
Yeah.
But you did that. And then what did you do, or what did you think at the time?
I'm curious to know something.
Oh, sorry.
What age?
Okay, so I went into the MHU when I was 17. The day that I got out of the MHU was actually my 18th birthday. And so that is when I was diagnosed with depression. And then from 18 to 19 was kind of a year of crazy mania. And I, near the end of my, 18, close to my 19th birthday was when I was diagnosed with bipolar. So then since then I've been diagnosed bipolar, and I've seen a few psychiatrists. They've all confirmed that I am indeed bipolar. And that's really when I started to be able to figure out things, even though I would say it's only been in my year of being 21 that I've really figured myself out and figured out what works, and have learned to have a healthy mind, I suppose. Yeah.
With the right support?
Yeah, that's great.
Support is huge.
Support, what were your thoughts when she told you that had that breakdown in the Jeep? What were you thinking at the time, or what did you feel you needed to do, or what was going through your head at that time?
I've always taught my kids to be self-aware and not to be afraid to come to me with anything. My love for them is unconditional, and there's nothing that they can do in the world that would make me love them any less. So when she came to me, she actually said to me, "Mom, you need to listen. You have to listen to me right now. I'm not going to be here if somebody doesn't help me.
Wow.
I'm very sick and I need help." And she kept saying to me,
I thought I was going crazy. Like,
Yeah.
I told my mom, like, I've gone crazy, like, something is really wrong and I'm really sick. And that's difficult to say now because obviously a lot of people do associate bipolar with being crazy. So it was unfortunate that that's the way that I thought about things. But my mind was just a mess of thoughts, and there was so much going on that I had hidden from everyone. People saw different warning signs, I guess, that things weren't right with me, but there was so much else going on that was so out of character for me, and I had no idea what was going on. I truly, like, thought I knew I was sick. And
I'm just really happy that your mom was there to listen,
yeah,
support you unconditionally, like she says, because
Yeah.
it's huge. And I've said this before on other episodes that there are a lot of kids and adults that don't have support,
yeah,
you know, when they are fighting mentally. So
Or even when they do tell their parents, they're like, "Oh, you know, everything's fine. Everything's fine.
or get
And-
over it.
yeah.
Right? They're
You know, you're just having a tough time. Get over it." Not everybody has that kind of relationship, or not everybody's as open to it. Some of them are still stuck it back where, you know, it's still, oh, you know, not our family, not you, not my daughter. Like,
Yeah.
so
or
to
keep
be
it hush hush
able,
and don't talk to anybody.
don't talk to
say
anybody
anything.
about it.
Which
So-
is what we're trying to end, right?
end.
Is
Yeah.
the stigma.
That's
This is why
exactly
we're
it.
doing what we are doing, the episode that we're having.
yeah.
So
when you
That's
see
exactly
when you see the desperation though in your child,
Yeah.
you act on it and you listen. You do, and I did. I do. I know that there's some parents out there that would like to sweep it under the rug, and it's really unfortunate. But it's time that society gets over the stigma of mental health and looking at
Absolutely.
it as a weakness, because Megan is the strongest person I know, and she's bipolar, and I'm proud of her.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Like, for real, it's not, and like you said, it's not a weakness. It's actually very strong to be able to be in touch with yourself, to admit that there's something wrong, to reach out, to get that help, and to move on, to be such a strong individual as you are, because you are studying.
Yeah, I'm currently a public health student, and I'm hoping to go to medical school. I hope to be a doctor one day, and I hope that through the experiences that I've had with bipolar, that I can connect with different patients that are going through different things one day and kind of be there for them, because I think that some of the things I've experienced are things that a lot of people don't get to say that they've experienced, and I'm just really hoping that I'm able to take my bipolar and kind of translate it into a career.
And that's perfect, you know, because that's one thing that we say is that being able to help others when it's affected you yourself.
Yeah.
You have that deep understanding of what they're going through. So you're going to be more empathetic, more, and have maybe different ways to help them, or just be that special person for that person, or see the signs, or be that one to believe them. Because
Yeah.
can we
sometimes
say
it's not always like
using
that.
our weaknesses as our strength?
Yeah,
Yes,
100%.
for
Right?
sure.
And that's like one of my huge things right now, is that I just want to advocate for people, not just people with mental illness, but I spend a lot of time advocating for people that don't have a voice, because that was me. At one point I didn't have a voice and I was really, really lost, and if it wasn't for my mom, like, she was the person who advocated for me. She was the person who made sure that I was seen by doctors and got me appointments and stuff, and I honestly would not be alive if my mom wouldn't have advocated for me, and now I try to advocate for others.
And not only advocate, but to just reassure her every day that she was beautiful and special, loved and wanted, and that there was nothing in the world that she couldn't conquer. Even when she was so down and fighting for life, I reminded her multiple times that she would conquer it.
Life is tough, and you're still so young.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, we're still young, right? But
Okay, get to the point here.
my point is that there's still a lot of life and so many beautiful things to still come. And, you know, just because you have bipolar doesn't mean that you can't be a doctor, you can't do your daily things, right? I mean,
You can do absolutely anything you set your mind to, just
Yeah.
like your mom has always said, and it's totally true. You know, as long as you don't sit there and be like, "Oh, well, I have bipolar and this is what it says is gonna happen, and so I might as well just
Exactly.
be that. I'm bipolar."
Yeah.
No, you
Which
haven't.
I think is a huge misconception, and a lot of people say to me, you know, oh, like I would have never guessed you were bipolar because you do so well in school, or I would have never guessed you were bipolar because you're so successful. And it's really unfortunate because people associate bipolar people with people who are never going to be able to go anywhere in life. And I've had people tell me, like, you're not going to be a good mom, or you're not going to be a good partner because you're going to cheat on your spouse when you're in mania, or you're never going to be able to be a doctor because you can't even make decisions for yourself. Just like really horrible things. And that's not true at all. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a really caring and compassionate person, and I'm trying to break the stigma by showing people that you can be bipolar and you can still be extremely successful in life.
Absolutely.
and yeah, I was just gonna say absolutely. And what's the other thing that you've been doing? You've been blogging about it.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe tell the audience, the viewers, how they can find you, how they can follow your blogs.
So yeah, I started blogging in October. It was originally just an outlet for me. I was struggling with a few things, and I decided I'm gonna start writing down my thoughts. I started talking to different people about the fact that I was writing, and I have one of my friends who actually started an initiative called the Rambler Project, which you guys can look up on Instagram or online, and he said to me, "Hey Meg, would you be interested in writing our first blog for our website?" So I thought about it and I'm like, okay, this is something I could do. So I wrote my first blog, which was called My Story. And this blog basically just talked about all of the things that I am, like that I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a friend, I'm a student, I want to be a doctor, all of like these successful qualities that I have, and that I am also bipolar. I talked a bit about what it feels like to be bipolar in it, and in this blog I basically mentioned that the hardest part is kind of the gray area when I'm going up and down, and to me it's like running a marathon with a high heel and a slipper on, and sometimes I'm running this marathon for days and sometimes I'm running this marathon for months. This blog got quite popular and a lot of people reached out to me saying like, wow, that was really awesome. So I decided I would write another blog and another blog, and then eventually, it's only been in 2019, like a few weeks ago, The Mighty, which is it's a big website. It has a really big following as far as mental health initiatives go. They decided to publish one of my blogs, and Yahoo decided to publish the same blog, and everything's kind of blowing up. So I've decided to make a Facebook page, which you can find under Megan's Story. I also have a Instagram page that I started for my blog, and it's under Meg's Mental Health. And you can find my blog too. I link it on my Facebook and I link it on my Instagram.
Make it flash on the screen, Nick. Make it flash on the screen. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I continue to write. Now I've been like rolling out a few pieces, and I've recently heard from The Mighty, and they're going to be publishing 3 more of my blogs coming up. So, yeah, it's turned into a big outlet, and I've had a lot of people reach out to me. I've heard from people from like Texas and New York and the UK, all over the place, just sending me emails thanking me for my blogs, and it's been a really awesome experience.
And all your blogs are mental health related?
Yeah, the majority of them they touch on mental health in some way. A lot of them are just like personal stories that I decide to tell on a blog. Whether I'm talking about a relationship that I've gone through, or my relationship with my mom, or different medication that I've taken. Just, they're all personal stories, and they do touch on mental health.
They're relatable,
Yeah.
so that people can relate to Megan and you know, maybe have that awakening that they're not the only one and they're not alone.
Yeah, to know that they're not alone.
Yeah.
And the great thing about that, and why opening up and starting your blog and people reaching out to you, because some people don't have that support.
Yeah.
So hearing yours and them reaching out to you is kind of like, you know.
Yeah, I become their support.
Yeah,
Become your support.
exactly. Did you think when you started when you wrote that first blog, just kind of how you said for yourself, did you think it would
take off.
So
No,
big, take
like-
off like that?
Never in a million years did I think it was gonna blow up, and it was really surreal to me that like the Mighty had published my work. This happened on Valentine's Day, and I remember running upstairs to my mom, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got published, like I'm on the Mighty, there's so many people reading it. And then Yahoo published my blog, and so many people read it. Thousands and thousands of people read my blog.
All in the same day?
Yeah, like there was like 800 comments on the blog, and I was like, oh my gosh, a lot of people are reading this, like this is crazy. And
That's amazing.
yeah.
So along with the good, did you get any bad?
Yeah, so I got a lot of hate comments. At first it was really hard to read. Reading things telling me to go kill myself, or telling me that no one's ever gonna love me, or that they would never let their child date a bipolar person, or they're surprised that my parents decide to love me. Just really hateful comments. That was really hard, but it kind of like inspired me more, and I actually ended up writing another blog called My Response to the Hate Comments, and you can read that. It's quite interesting. It kind of responds to a lot of the different things that people said about me.
I like how you use that as your fuel.
Yeah, it was an
to-
inspiration.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To inspire you, to motivate you to just say, you know what? Screw you.
Yeah.
And that goes again to show how strong you are. That you didn't let that break you.
Yeah.
No.
You took that and turned that around
Yeah.
almost on them. Like how ignorant of you to say such a thing.
It
Yeah.
just proved that stigma
Exists.
Exists.
is huge.
Oh.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much.
And that, you know, she just turned it around and
Yeah, it inspired me to write a really good blog, which is probably my favorite blog that I've written actually. There's a bit of comedy in it, just people telling me that I'm gonna live alone forever and have a ton of cats and drink boxed wine, and I'm like, I love my boxed wine.
But you know what? That's just people behind a computer
Behind the
that
keyboard, you know?
honest, like ignorant.
Yeah.
Ignorant is a great word.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I say it's a reflection of them at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and these are people who write behind different pseudonyms, so they're writing under Bubble Boy 27, and when I write my blogs, I write under Megan Rowe, and everyone knows it's me, and I'm putting out there to the world that I'm bipolar, so at the end of the day, I'm the brave person, and they're hiding behind a
Who the hell is
computer.
Bubble Boy anyways?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Bubble boy, this is Megan.
Yeah.
Got it?
We don't have to hide under different aliases.
So
Yeah.
that's like super good. And along with the hate, there's probably much more love.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
the things that people are gonna get from your stories is outweighs those negative comments tenfold.
Yeah.
And
And-
I can relate with, you know, what you're saying with the show and
Yeah.
comments that have been made, right? So
Yeah.
it's not going to break us, and it's not going to make us fold and say, well,
Yeah.
oh, you know, all these comments, that's it. I'm just going to
Yeah.
stop doing what I'm doing because
Yeah, and I think even
you don't
like,
agree.
yeah, I think even for my mom, it was probably hard to read like so many hate comments directed towards her daughter, because I remember sending her the link and being like, read some of these comments, like these comments are crazy, and I think that would have been hard for her too, but we had a discussion about it, and she was just like, you know what, like let's just power through this. I was upset at first, and I think you were probably
Well, mom
upset
had
too.
to be upset too
Yeah.
a little bit.
Did the mama bear want to come out?
It was more hurtful because I know who Megan is as a person. I know how smart she is, and I've been there through the good and the bad. And even the bad, they were way off base with what they were attacking her with, just way out in left field. And it's that stigma against bipolar. You know, a lot of people use the word bipolar to describe a lot of unstable situations, and it's taken out of context.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of people say like, and I find it really offensive now when people say like, oh, you're acting so bipolar, because
Yeah.
to me, like, bipolar is an illness. You
Or
can't
somebody
say
says, oh, I'm so bipolar. And
Yeah,
you're
like-
have you been diagnosed with it? It's
Yeah.
yeah,
no.
like it's a really difficult thing to go through, and unless you've like experienced the mind of a bipolar person and how uncomfortable it is and how much it hurts, like to say like, oh, you got in a fight and you call someone bipolar, like no, that's not bipolar. Being bipolar is falling apart because your mind is in spirals and you have no idea what's going on and your entire world's crumbling.
That is so true. Like some of the things I hear, like, oh, you're acting crazy, or stop being schizophrenic, or oh, that person was very schizophrenic, and that's that's super,
It's
super,
offensive.
super upsetting.
Yeah.
Like, don't even go there. Don't even
Offensive.
joke about it.
It's
Don't
offensive.
Yeah.
anything.
It's
Yeah.
ignorance.
It is
really
ignorance.
is.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to end here. With all these shows that we do on anxiety, on
Depression.
depression.
Stress.
Now, like, we're trying to touch on all these different shows, and we wanted to bring Megan in for the bipolar one, as we thought she was the perfect person. Being as strong as she is, and already putting out blogs there, and being, you know, successful with that, and successful in her own life, wanting to become a doctor is super amazing, and overcome all that hatred to be the person that she is, and that, you know, that you've taught her. She's a strong girl because she has a strong mom, or a strong family behind her, you know.
Support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we keep talking about support.
Support's huge.
It is. Like, I mean, there's so many people that don't have the support that they really need.
Yeah.
You know, and we've said this, people just throw it under the rug or...
So my question would be, you know how people kind of generalize or stigmatize bipolar?
Yeah.
So do you have any like stigmatisms that people think that you want to crush? Any like, you know, facts and how it really is for you?
Yeah, so my response to hate comments, that blog talked about a lot of the different stigmatisms that people had expressed towards me, and there was a lot that kind of were repetitive. A lot of people said, you know, you're never going to be able to go to school because you're bipolar, and I'm like, this is hilarious because I'm a 4.0 student and I want to be a doctor. A lot of people told me, you know, you're never going to be able to be a mom because you're bipolar, which I'm going to be a mom one day, and I know I'm going to be a really good mom. People told me, you know, that I'm probably a horrible girlfriend because I'm bipolar and I'm going to cheat on everyone I'm with, and that's kind of wild to me because I've been cheated on and I know how much it hurts, and I wouldn't cheat on my partner. Like, that's not something that I would wish upon anyone.
Again, that's just ignorance, right?
Yeah, and like people told me, you know, like I'm never gonna be loved because I'm bipolar, and I'm currently in a relationship, and the guy who I'm with like loves me even more because I'm bipolar. So yeah,
There's always that special one out there. So when people think bipolar, they kind of think like, I'm gonna say this word that I absolutely hate, crazy, way out there, off the wall, like you're just constantly like being, I don't even know how to explain it because I'm a little bit more educated than these silly things
Yeah.
that people think it is. So what is
Well, it's because they don't
bipolar
know, right?
to you? Like, what is bipolar?
so
What
bipolar is
the
an illness. Your brain is sick when you are bipolar. There's some issues, and you're either in a depressive state or you're in a manic state. Being in a manic state is because your brain is releasing too much dopamine. That's nothing that I can control. It's not like I wake up one morning and I decide, oh, today I want to be manic. Like, no, that's not the way it works. I'm manic because my brain is sick. And it's something that isn't, like, it's never going to go away. I'm always going to be bipolar, but it can be controlled like any other illness with medication. I live a perfectly normal life now. I work, I go to school, I'm a contributing member of society. I help a lot of people. I advocate for people. I'm a good
Volunteers.
daughter. Yeah, I volunteer. Like, I'm a girlfriend. I do every single normal thing, and I'm bipolar. So to me, it's an illness, and I think you need to look at it like an illness because someone's not crazy. Someone's brain is sick, and
Just because you can't see it on the outside doesn't mean that it's not there.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
And just because it's labeled and it has a title doesn't mean it defines that person in
Yeah.
any way.
Yeah.
Fact.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing too. Is I used to hate the bipolar label. I remember telling my mom, like, when I was labeled with it or diagnosed with it, I don't want to be diagnosed bipolar. Everyone's gonna think I'm crazy, which is sad for me to say now because I advocate for it. But you were the person who kind of taught me, like, it's okay to be bipolar. You know, you're still the same person, and like maybe you want to touch on that a bit.
Yeah, it doesn't change who Megan is as a person. She's the same person she was before the diagnosis. She's the same person, you know, if anything, she's stronger and she's more self-aware. I've seen her grow in leaps and bounds and power through life and struggle her way to where she is now. The bravest thing that Megan ever did was choose to live when she wanted to die. And absolutely is my hero.
You're gonna make me cry.
You're gonna make me cry down here. That's amazing, you know, and it's so nice to hear.
Yeah, she's really worked on self-awareness.
Yeah, that's a huge thing, being mindful.
Her last hypomanic state, she was able to come to me and say, Mom, I feel that I'm starting to go into a hypomanic state. We need to get on top of this before it goes into mania. Amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Amazing.
Self-awareness, right?
Yeah.
To-
Self-awareness.
To even be that, you know, aware alone shows you that bipolar is not what the stigma is. It's far from.
And another stigma smash, because some of the hate comments were that people pull themselves off of meds to go into a manic state.
Yeah.
Because it's euphoric and it feels great. Well, she came to me and said that she felt that she was on the cusp of going into hypomania, which is different than mania.
Yeah,
What's the
hypomania is kind of like the
difference?
pre to mania, or like it's like a lower version of mania. It's like before you go into full blown mania, or like they don't even need to be really associated with each other. But like mania, you're like on top of the world. You're doing things like sometimes you experience psychosis, some like things like that. Whereas hypomania is just like a lesser version of this. It's you're releasing dopamine, but not as much dopamine.
And she
So kind of different highs and lows
Yeah,
throughout the
it's
day.
like it would be like you're high, but you're not super high.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she recognized the symptoms, and you know, we looked again at things up together, and she pulled herself off sugar, she pulled herself off caffeine, she we went to the clinic that night, had a med adjustment that night, so she did everything.
So
made-
foods play a big role too with, because you're saying your sugar, your caffeine.
Yeah, well,
If you're going into mania and you have a ton of sugar and you're drinking alcohol and you're having caffeine, like that's not gonna help you. That's gonna push the
Perfect
mania.
information to know,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So yeah, and you know, as tough as it is to sleep when you're in a hypomanic state, she knew that she needed her 8 hours sleep, and she was able to work that out with the doctor, and so she did everything that she needed to do, and she did not go into full-blown mania.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, a lot of people say like, oh, bipolar people love being manic, but to me, like being manic is like, it's, yes, your body, like at the time you feel like you're on top of the world, but your mind is so lost and you feel like you're a prisoner inside your body, and it's not a great thing at all. Like I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. Like it's not a good thing. You're walking a really dark road, and sometimes you don't see the light at the end of the road, and it's not good. Like
But you were
looking at
able
your
to-
body from the outside.
You were able
and-
to recognize that.
yeah,
you know?
like I don't want to be manic. That's not something that I want to be. I want to be at my baseline, and I want to be, you
So
know,
listen
happy
to that,
and
people.
healthy.
Bipolar disorder people with bipolar don't want to be manic.
Yeah.
Just saying.
And
That's a stigma.
days, and that if there's people out there, you got to get through the tough days to get to the good days.
to the good days, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
So
power
And it's one day, it's one day at a time, right?
Yeah.
Like I know when you were in your slump last week, right? I mean, if we're gonna be honest, and I kept telling her one day, it's one day at a time. Let's take
Yeah.
it one day at a time. If you need to
And it
rest
just
today,
felt
rest
like
today.
that day was never gonna end
Yeah.
because it wasn't just a bad day, it was a super dark day.
Yeah.
Like when I was right back at the smack again, and it's just like you feel like you're hopeless, like you've tried
Yeah.
so hard and you were doing so good, and this is where you are again.
And even last week, like Megan said to me, I'm so discouraged, Mom, because I'm on the cusp of hypomania, and you know, like why, and I'm tired, and and it's okay. It's okay to be tired. It's okay to be discouraged.
Absolutely.
This is going to happen. There's going to be highs and lows, but there's also going to be a lot of days that you're at, like Megan called it, her baseline.
Yeah.
And she also said to me yesterday, she was having a discussion with somebody who reached out to her, and she was able to tell the person that if she had ended her life,
I wouldn't get to experience the good things that I do now, and that's like a big thing that I want to advocate for, like to tell people. I mean, there was a lot of times that I wanted to end my life. I had a full-blown plan, and I was 100% set on the fact that I was going to kill myself.
Yeah.
And I have no idea why I didn't kill myself, but I chose life, and I'm so happy that I chose life.
She used to say to me a lot was that when she would call me from university, and it was so difficult to hear her say, like, I was terrified that I was going to lose her, you know, but I couldn't be there. She had to learn this illness. She had to learn it. And it is part of her. I can be there to support, but it's hers. And she has to learn to live it.
I appreciate very much all your openness and everything. So hearing how strong you are, were there any other times that you were not so strong, that maybe you were in a dark place or in a weak place?
Yes.
Because you are quite strong.
Yeah.
So, you know, with every strong person, there has to be some point that's not so amazing. Do you have anything like that?
Yeah, so September 2017 was probably the hardest month of my life. I had someone who was extremely significant in my life leave my life because I was bipolar, and they told me a lot of things, and I became like, I believed these things, like that I'm not going to be a good partner, and I won't be a good mom, and I'll never be a doctor because I'm bipolar. I fell into a huge slump out of this, and looking back, I think I might have been like hypomanic for the entire summer going into this, so the summer of 2017, and I had a really bad eating disorder too at the time. I was obsessed with being someone that I'm not. I wanted to be super thin, and I wanted to be pretty enough for society, I guess, so I was struggling with that too, and then I fell into this huge slump, and September of 2017 was horrible. I'm so shocked that I lived through it. I remember I was away at school, and I called my parents, and I said, like, everything is crumbling right now. I don't know what to do. I ended up withdrawing from that semester of school. A lot of people don't know that because I hid it, and this is gonna be a shock for a lot of people watching this to hear. So I withdrew from that semester, and my parents were completely supportive when I called them. They were like, you do what you gotta do, and we're gonna get you better. I started seeing a psychiatrist a lot, and I was placed into a program. This program, I had to go to see the doctor every single day for a while to check in with them and let them know how I was doing. But
Because what was it though? What was that really dark time? What were you feeling that you had to get on that program?
yeah, so this wasn't a manic state. This was a depressive state, and I was extremely depressed. I was extremely discouraged, and I kind of like lost hope in myself. I would constantly think about the fact that I wanted to die, and I expressed to my parents a lot that I wanted to die, and I think they were kind of like terrified through
Because
this.
you were away at school, right?
Yeah.
And so she
So,
would
yeah,
say
that
that
must
to
have
you
been
on the
hard on
phone.
Yeah.
So what would you...
So we did everything we could possibly do to keep Meg safe. She had a good support system of friends, and a friend was able to take her up to Emerge. Her dad left right away and drove down to where she was at, and was able to make sure that he was physically there to make sure that she was safe.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, like that's a huge thing. My dad drove the entire night to get to where I was, to be there with me and to be at the hospital with me. Like, he completely stopped everything he was doing to be there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Amazing parent.
Yeah, and you know, lots of phone conversations, lots of texting, and I personally, I had to trust God. He made Megan. He knows her very being, and this is what my personal belief is, and I just had to trust and rest in him that he was going to keep her safe. And
yeah, like I don't even know how I got through it. I was 100% that I was going to commit suicide. I used to actually take all of my medication, and I knew that my medication would kill me if I took all of it because my psychiatrist had told me this before. Like, if you take all of your pills, you're gonna die. There's no coming back from it. You will die. And I used to take all of it, and I used to pour it out onto my bed, and I would just sit there, and I would be like, okay, I'm gonna swallow it all. But I never got to that point where I went ahead and did it. And I remember going to see my psychiatrist, and we had a really real discussion. He knows that I get medicine and that I'm quite smart, so we had a talk, and he said, you know, I'm gonna tell you the statistics. You're bipolar, and the chances that you're going to commit suicide are extremely high, but I don't want you to commit suicide. So you're going to have to really fight if you want to live. And we switched around all of my medication, and I knew that it was going to be a huge battle. I went through hell, but I came through the other side, and I found light again.
And one reason behind why the psychiatrist said that to Megan was she kept pulling herself off her medication to be thin. With the bipolar medication came a little bit of weight gain, and so Megan fell into a pattern of an unhealthy eating disorder. So not only did she struggle with being bipolar, but she struggled with how society tells women what they should look like.
The stigma?
The stigma.
Yeah,
It's the stigma.
Everybody needs to be thin, to be pretty, to have guys like them, to,
And it's so untrue. It's
No,
so
it
untrue.
really is.
I was so scared. Like, I had this thought that I would rather be pretty than have a sane mind. And that is such a horrible thought. Like, I have no idea, like, where I am now, I've accepted the way that I look, and I'm happy with the way that I look, and my boyfriend loves the way that I look, and, like, I've come leaps and bounds, but at the time, I chose not to take medication because I wanted to stay thin, and that's just really sad.
It is, and her psychiatrist knew that she was a smart girl, and he was going to put it right out there for her, and tell her the statistics, and if she wasn't going to listen, this was going to happen, and if she was not going to choose life and learn her illness and learn to live with it,
I was going to die.
Do you remember the statistic? It's just to let the audience know.
I don't necessarily remember it, but it was a big number. It was like people with bipolar are 20 times or something like that more likely to commit suicide. It was a big statistic, and I remember being shocked and hearing it, and he told me, like, if you don't listen and you don't take your medication, you're going to kill yourself. Like, you will kill yourself. It's going to happen. So that kind of shocked me, and I was
she
like,
called me right.
Yeah,
after that
I called her, and I'm like, you need to hear the things that my psychiatrist just told me. Like, he told me I'm going to kill myself if I don't take my medication. And then since then, I haven't come off my medication since that conversation.
At least he was honest.
That just goes to show, though, how sound mind people with bipolar are. They're not, the stigma that some believe. Not everybody believe, because some are very, aware as well. Like, we're not aliens here who are the only ones who are trying to end the stigma. There are some who are trying to do the same.
Yeah.
So for those, though, who don't know, like, that's huge.
Yeah.
To be able to do that and to be of sound mind enough to choose life.
Yeah, and choosing life was the best decision that I ever made. If I would have ended my life, I wouldn't have been able to experience some of the amazing things that I have experienced in the past year or since September 2017. I went through a lot of hard times, and I'm not gonna lie, sometimes there are still hard days. Last week I had a couple hard days. That's just the way that life is, but I've had a lot of really good days too. And
thank you for your honesty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's reality that
And
people go through a hard time.
yeah, exactly. And if I would have ended my life, I wouldn't have seen a lot of the things that I do now. Right now I'm on placement, and I love my placement. I get to help people every single day, and I advocate for people through the work that I do. And
Your blog?
Yeah, my blog. I've grown through my blog. I've grown in the person that I am. I have an amazing relationship with my family. I got way closer to my mom and to my parents and to my siblings through my illness, and the relationship that I'm in now, like, my boyfriend is so supportive and he loves everything about me, and I've never thought that would happen to me because I was fully convinced that no one would ever love me because I was bipolar, and no one would ever
That's
want to have a
because
life
someone
with
put
me.
that in your head.
Yeah.
But
shame on you.
someone
Yeah.
put that in your head, or also the stigma, right?
Yeah.
Behind it, so you were believing
I was
what
so
you were
ashamed.
hearing
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. But you did take the time to educate yourself and learn
Yeah.
about it, though. You didn't just want to be blind to this is what it is, this is what I've heard about it, that's what I am.
And I'm done.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you knew, enough to educate yourself on the matter and overcome a lot of the things to have and go through and, experience some of the great things that
Yeah, you've
have done and
experienced-
that you're gonna do. Because
Yeah.
she's gonna be a doctor. Just wait.
She's gonna do great things, my friends.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're a doctor here. But
Yeah.
we'll see. Yeah.
One thing that I want to add, when I think about Megan, and when I'm not embarrassed at all whatsoever to say that I have a daughter that is bipolar. I'm actually proud of her, and when I think of Megan, I was sitting at my desk today at work, and I was thinking about this podcast, and just kind of thinking, when I think of Megan, what do I think about? And beautiful mind is what came to my thoughts was, and it's so off of what society thinks of bipolar. They think it's a crazy mind. It's a beautiful mind, and you just need to ride the wave.
Yeah.
And
Say there, ride the wave.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good expression.
Yeah, and like it's crazy to me now because I used to hate that I was bipolar, but now like being bipolar is one of my favorite things about me because it's given me so many amazing opportunities. I've met so many amazing people. I advocate for so many people. I have this blog that I absolutely love, and I love what I do, and I just like I'm thankful that I'm bipolar because it makes me the person that I am, and if I wasn't bipolar, I wouldn't be Megan Rowe. So
On that,
Wow.
I think we are going to end this episode on that note, my friends.
Perfect.
Thank you
I
so
thank
much.
you for both of you joining us.
Yes, and
telling us
opening
your story.
up, ending the stigma.
We're crushing the stigma.
yeah, thank
So-
you for having
yes,
us.
thank you.
No, it's our pleasure. Like, honestly,
Thank you.
that's it.
Yes.
That was
Have a
awesome.
great
That was
night.
Hey, coffee with Joe, 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 Joe. Hey, coffee with Joe, 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 Joe. Hey, coffee with Joe, 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 Joe. Hashtag keeping it real.